Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Marked by Wrestling, where we stay vigilant as vigilantes, seeking justice through the night and continue. Sorry, everybody. I don't know what that was. Thank you for joining me tonight here at Marked by Wrestling for part two of a special conversation regarding the DC film universe. And we're just going to strip away all the fanfare and the pomp and circumstance. Oh, yeah. And bring in our guest. You know him. You love him. He is the phenomenal A from A and B Convos.
Where is he? Swear to me! Yeah.
Where's the trigger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. What is going on, Mark by Wrestling? Thank you so much for having me once again for part two. Those straps is what I'm talking about for the
Yeah.
DCEU. And I just got to go ahead and say we just swooped in. This is not DC, but it is the MCU. Just swooped in from Fantastic Four. And I got to
The
tell you,
most elite group in Marvel Comics. Just kidding. Sorry. Got to throw up the four. Okay, well.
It looks like they took a dump in the MC universe and they left that.
Not a fan.
No. It was actually excellent. It was
Oh,
excellent.
yeah, you're doing the Jay Lethal. Okay, yeah. No, that's so fancy. Yeah.
It was
Did
excellent.
I hear? So good.
Exactly.
So good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude, summer movies are back, man.
Yeah.
Like, it has been an excellent summer. Not that everybody has the time to see everything, but just to rattle off a few, just so some of you guys, if you didn't get to see stuff and you want to catch it on streaming later, but like Mission Impossible, F1 was great. Superman, Fantastic Four, and we're still in July. I mean, August we kind of trail off a little bit, but dude, the big popcorn movies that are good are back, and like I love to see that. I love it. I love every time of year coming back. I'm really hopeful too that we can get a good like holiday movie back too. Like, like the late 80s and early 90s gave us like the Home Alones and the Die Hards and all these things. Like if we could get another good, because it's been a good 20 years since we got Elf, so like we could just get like a good, I don't know, like certain times of year have been known for really classic movies to come through. So yeah, man, I'm happy to see summer movies having a good summer this year. And also like next year, this is way off. Well, it's not way off. It's the old school comic, I guess, in the original print. But Christopher Nolan is making the Odyssey that is coming out next year. Yep. Very brief teaser trailers attached to Superman and to Fantastic Four when I saw them. So yeah, man, that's gonna be wild for sure. But here we are, continuing our conversation. If you come here to hear takes on Superman, I want to go ahead and encourage you to stay with us tonight, be patient, and then go back and watch part one from last night, where we broke bread, we shared joy, pain, and discussed the pros and cons of letting school buses full of children drown in the water, as we discussed Superman and all of that. So if you want to hear our takes on Superman, go back to that one.
I will say this much. We're not going to speak on Superman like you said. I will say this. I did discuss what we discussed with B Rad. And she actually agrees with what we are saying in regards to Pa dying with the tornado and him just kind of doing the whole thing. And Superman not really being broken up over that, but he was like distraught over killing Zod. I thought that was a little peculiar, and it didn't sit right with me. So that was something that we will broach that a little later on. But I just wanted to mention that. Yes, very interesting.
And I don't know if I gave credit where credit was due last night or not. I can't remember. But Zod was an amazingly written villain in Man of Steel. He might be the best Snyder era villain that we had for that run, from top to bottom, because his Luthor was trash. His Doomsday looked like the cave troll from Lord of the Rings, and then Wonder Woman's. We can get into. You know what? Do you mind if we just like turn left a little bit? I was gonna say Batman first, but let's do Wonder Woman because we had two movies, and I don't even know if any of us saw the second one. I mean, I did see. That's a lie. I saw the second one. It was the COVID year, and it was free on Max. So like, I mean, it was hard not to watch it. I had hype going into it, but boy, lots of. I got. I'll start with the first one. Okay, first of all, I actually really liked, I would say, 85% of the first Wonder Woman movie. The World War One scene where she's in which the poetic feminine justice of Wonder Woman walking into no man's land, and like shrugging off all the bullets and mortars and stuff is up there with great cinematic comic book hero moments with What's Up Danger, with Bring Me Thanos, with Iron Man showing up in the remote Middle Eastern village and just dropping terrorists left and right. And I thought Gal Gadot was great in that role. I hated Two Snaps, Twist, Can't Touch This. I absolutely hated the climax of that film. I did not like, and you know what? It was so funny because it was such a left turn. It was with what I loved to what I hated. Like it was so much like giving me the best booking I could have asked for, and then like here comes the LWO instead, or something like here comes Akira Tozawa, and like because like she set up against Ares to fight Ares in the end, and like that last fight was so underwhelming. But right before that, like what was cool, it was a cool theme that I thought they explored was that her being in Amazon and her having this sort of ritualistic history about the gods and all this other stuff. J.R. Dugan. Shout out to JR, by the way. I will come through and say hi to you guys. I know I just jumped right into the conversation, but we'll recognize you guys. But JR brings up this point before I could even say it. I love the pairing of Gal Gadot and Chris Pine in the first movie. Their chemistry together was excellent, as both of those as those characters and in that relationship. However, with Diana as this Amazon and knowing about the gods and all this other stuff, she's convinced the whole movie that Ares is the reason the world is at war because he's the god of war and all this other stuff. And at the end, like Steve Trevor is about to fly into the night, probably to sacrifice himself. It doesn't look good for him, and he's just doing the heroic thing. And she's like, "You don't have to do that." She's like, "You don't have to do this because if we kill Ares, this is all going to be fine." And he just like snaps at her just a little bit, and he's like, "Maybe it's just our fault. Like maybe humans just aren't as innocent as you think we are. Maybe we did this to ourselves." And I was like, man, what a deep cut to throw into a hero movie, especially at that time. We weren't really getting that far down the rabbit hole and those kinds of themes and stuff in those movies yet. And I was like, man, if that is where they land on that in this movie, like I will give them all the pats on the back. And then it was actually just Ares. So I'm kind of like, I mean, I get it, but man, like they dangled such a nice carrot there, there for a second, only to to turn into a CGI fight. And it was just an absolute bummer. But yeah, and I mean, I can get into the second Wonder Woman, but I want to hear your thoughts on all things Wonder Woman first before I give thoughts on the sequel.
Okay, so Wonder Woman being a woman of lore, okay. Um, Again, not really big on the comics, and I didn't really care for the animation back in the day. Linda Carter being the first foray for me into Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. She was the Trish Stratus for a whole previous generation.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. As well,
Your
she
first
could.
crush.
It was a different time, and what was the thing is not quite the thing today. I look at certain people like Shaft. Shaft, he has that rugged handsomeness. He had the fro, he had the stash. It just, people had certain looks back then that
He was a
just,
bad mother.
well, shut your mouth.
Sorry.
No, you just talk about Shaft.
Mm.
So here's the thing.
Right.
Here's the thing. That's why I love you. I watched both films. I have no issues with Gal Gadot, generally speaking. There's a woman on TikTok that makes incredible fun of her and her acting. I don't know if you've ever seen this. I've got to find it. I'll send it to you. But she does this impression of Gal Gadot that's just hilarious, like all of her films, where she just is kind of this playing the same character
Mm-hmm.
no matter what. Like, you know, Kal-El, no, Matt
That
Lord, no,
yeah, there's a certain, and I mean, I'm glad to know. I know we're jumping universes here for a second, but I'm glad to see Hayden Christensen has found some redemption in his career. But he was accused of a certain level of woodenness to his performances that she has also met the accusations of as well, for sure.
Yes, she has. So
Hello, no.
it's fine. It's fine. She made a career of it. Cool. Yeah, whatever.
Mhm.
Here's the deal. I enjoyed the first Wonder Woman overall. I will tell you right out of the gate, Gal Gadot's got a great face. I'm not saying she's not got a great overall body and look and all that stuff.
Mhm.
The issue that I have with this is Wonder Woman, and like you said it in the opening, what is Wonder Woman? She's an
It's an
Amazonian.
Amazon.
Dude, I'm not saying Linda Carter was like cut up, but she was a little thicker.
Yeah,
Okay,
thicker than
there
a
was
Snicker, as
no.
I saw on a show one
That's
time.
my point exactly. Thicker than a Snicker. There was no weight to Gal Gadot. There was no muscle tone. She didn't take the time to really, you know, she didn't cut up. She did nothing.
Wonder Woman
Okay.
is not a supermodel. She is. I mean, she's. She. they, sorry, I'm trying to find the most apt description while also being respectful.
Yes.
But like, I mean, she's. You know, uh, who's a beautiful lady in WWE these days. Like, you know,
She could have got the Rhea Ripley size if she wanted to.
yeah, I was about to say. Well, I was about to say, like, Wonder Woman should have like Jade Cargill's body.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jake, that's perfect. That's a perfect example.
even
Jake
Bianca, even
Cargill is
Bianca.
thin but muscular. Yes. 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 That is not asking too much. And apparently it was for Gal Gadot. And I don't know why. I don't
Yeah,
know who green lit that. I don't know who said, look, you're perfect the way you are. Again, if you're being somebody that went to film school, my whole thing, the whole reason I moved 3,000 miles is because if you're going to go through the trouble and the time and the expense to make a major motion picture, do it right or don't do it at all. Okay, I cannot stress this enough. This is a big deal, and
yeah,
she should have been in that gym clanging and banging with those 24-inch pythons, brother. And it didn't happen. So right
right.
out of the gate, you
Yeah,
started off the wrong foot with me. Okay.
yeah. You look
Yeah.
at you. We would not. Sorry, I was just gonna. Yeah, agree with you. We would not have stood. Film fandom would not have stood for Chris Hemsworth looking like Gal Gadot being cast as Thor.
And here's
And
another
I mean,
example.
she
Yeah.
is warrior royalty. That is who Wonder Woman is. That's who Diana is. And so I do trust. I'm not going to say James Gunn can do no wrong. Obviously he can. I mean, he got canceled at one point for doing wrong, even though that was just the mob out to get him. But nevertheless, um, I think he can cast that right. I mean, if anything, he seems to do a good job of listening to criticism
Yeah.
and trying to course correct with some things. So surely we'll have a little bit more, a little bit more swollage. It doesn't have to be a 6'7" Jordan Grace or anything.
Right.
But still, Yeah, you get supermodel face, but not supermodel biceps. You know, like
No,
yeah,
no, no. You're
she
not
got to be
walking
somebody who
around.
could take you in a fight.
Yeah, and I know obviously you're strong because that's the way they wrote the character. We get it. That's what
Yeah,
Wonder Woman is. But you got to look the part. You got to look the
yeah,
part. You got to look
yeah,
the part, right? Like you said, Chris Hemsworth, he got bigger as the MCU went on. Obviously, he's
yeah.
doing Hulk Hogan, interestingly enough. But in that last one, I think it was Love and Thunder. If you compare what he looked like there to the very first time we saw him on screen, night and day difference. Night and day difference. He took
By the
that
time
serious.
by the time he got to Ragnarok, it was just a different game
Dude,
for him, for
dude.
sure.
I'm not asking too much, right?
No,
So the film itself, the idea and everything, it was fine. I like the history of it. Then it went wrong with the ending. Okay, the ending was weak sauce for me. I did not care for that. Let's just call him the heel. Okay, did not care for the heel. It was one of the weakest things I think I'd ever seen. I didn't like his look. I
yeah.
thought he was wafy looking. He wasn't terribly strong. It was weak sauce for me, and I couldn't believe that was the strongest that they could come with a heel and a baby face in this situation.
And it might be my video gaming coming into the argument here, but so I played several God of War
Mm.
video games, which explores the Norse and Greek mythologies and stuff. So which by the way, great story there as well, if they ever wanted to make a movie of those. But him running into actually the plot of the first game is killing Ares, the god of war. It's a revenge story in the first story. And each god has a certain distinct look to them that
Yeah.
is, a caricature of whatever it is they are involved in. And like the god of war does not strike me as like he's not somebody who hides. He's not someone who deceives. He's one who, like, Loki is not a god of war. He's a god of mischief. And so of
Yep.
course he's in disguise. He is oh gosh, not seducing, but like what's the word? Like he's deceiving. Sorry. Yeah, he's deceiving people, misdirecting people and stuff like that. And the god of war is just like unstoppable. I mean, Thanos in Infinity War was like a god of war. He's
Yeah.
like, I have a purpose and I'm going to steamroll through that purpose and I dare you to stop me, you
Yes.
know? And so
Yes.
trying to make a mystery of it, honestly, I thought, again, talking about 85% of that movie, loving it until the end, I really thought they were going to I can't even remember her name now, but the general who made the gas, the woman,
Oh.
like and I was like, she's a better heel than Ares is. Like
All the way.
I'm she's got my attention. And
All
I'm
the
like,
way.
okay, we're gonna have a female hero and a female villain, and we're gonna bang this thing out, and it's gonna be awesome. And like I was ready for it. But yeah, that fell apart for me at the ending. And then we got the second one, man. And this is so funny because I'm going tomorrow back to the movies to pick up my reviews again. I'm going to go see this movie called Eddington, which I'm really excited about. That hasn't gotten a lot of. I haven't seen a lot of stuff about it other than when I'm at the movies seeing trailers. But I'm just laughing because Pedro Pascal is in it. And I'm like, this is going to be the third Pedro Pascal movie I've seen this summer, which is that man is working. That man's resume, his resume stays filled. His schedule stays filled. And he was the villain, Maxwell Lord, in Wonder Woman 1984, which interestingly enough, James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn, who played Kraglin in Guardians of the Galaxy,
Uh-huh.
the guy that inherited the Mohawk from Yondu, he's Maxwell Lord now. He was in a blink and you'll miss it. He was the one at the end of the movie that was like, liberals and conservatives can both agree that Lex Luthor sucks. Like that was him who said it. So I feel like he's almost kind of like the Elon Musk of that world in a way. Like a big tech bro kind of guy who's like whose opinion is asked for some reason. Nevertheless, Pedro Pascal plays that role. it's an interesting story. At first, the whole like monkey's paw kind of wishes thing, and also I was really excited at the beginning that they said Cheetah was going to be the villain because Super Friends, like that was like shout. I mean, I'm sure she's got a history, but for me, I'm like, oh, it's a Super Friends villain. Like,
Yeah.
I'm down for this. Like, give me Captain Cold, give me all these, Sinestro, all these people. But then I saw so JR, I just saw JR's comment says he liked Kristen Wiig more as the villain. I couldn't get behind Kristen Wiig as a villain. And this is probably my fault, and I'll take accountability for it. But when I saw she was cast, I'm just like, I can't think of her as anything other than a comedy actress. A very good one. Don't get me wrong, a very good one. She's very talented, and I'm don't mistake me. Don't hear that and mistake me for saying that I think she's untalented. Absolutely not. I think she's great, but I was just like, man, I'm have a hard time buying her as a movie villain. And also, there was a quirkiness and a little bit of a comedic air to her before she turned, as a villain. So, yeah, I left a little something to be desired. But yeah, my biggest issue with 84 was the implication. Now, normally, I'm one of those guys that I'm like, hey, it's a movie about people who can fly and have immortal powers and all this stuff. This movie about invisible jets and stuff, which actually that scene was hilarious. To me, like I loved the nod to the invisible jet. I think that was it's either in the first or the second movie, whichever one it was when they did that. I for it. But the idea that Steve Trevor's dead in this movie, and she kind of like wishes him back, but it's his essence or his spirit or whatever it is takes over another man. And all I have to say is if the shoe was on the other foot, there would be some justifiable and loud protesting to a male hero having a romantic entanglement with a random stranger who is under the spell to look like their lost love. Like, that wasn't great. But I'm not out here calling for the cancellation of anybody or anything. I mean, the movie's come and gone at this point, but that was something that definitely felt strange in the movie. But nevertheless, it just, I don't know. To be honest, it's probably been 3-4 years since it came out now, I guess.
Yeah,
And it didn't really leave a lasting impression on me, which is, I guess, is the most I can say, because I can still remember different beats from the original, from the first Wonder Woman, and a lot of stuff I loved about it. But like, it just didn't leave much of an impression on me. And I remember that brief discussion about her romantic relationship, although it wasn't really him and stuff, and like that being kind of weird. But also too, like, I'll have to admit, I can't quite remember all the beats of the ending, but I remember feeling like the villain got off kind of light at the end too. He was just like, oh, my son who I've neglected the whole movie, I love you now. Which, like, listen, that development I appreciate. But the execution, I think, of it felt a little kind of like, oh, this is happening now. Everything's okay. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm not so sure about all that, but nevertheless, yeah. So what did you think about 1984?
No, it was weak. It was weak. Becky loved it. She really enjoyed it. I actually, believe it or not, I like Kristen Wiig, and I thought she did a really good job
Yeah.
with what she had. I actually had no issues with her, but the film felt very disjointed for me. It just lacked a certain cohesion for my taste. The villain in here, whatever you want to call him, just making everybody's wishes coming true, and of course at his own detriment,
Mm-hmm.
which was interesting. It was a little too sort of the issue that I had with the Flash movie. I don't like emo stuff. I just don't like whiny, sappy, crying emo stuff. I don't know. It was a little too emo for me. You know,
Okay.
it was so that really kind of took me out of it a little bit. Um, yeah, it just it the film to me it really felt like a money grab more than them trying to really hammer out a decent sequel, a decent follow up to to the first film. It really did. It really just did not feel like it was something. It felt very forgettable.
Mm,
I'll say that much. Very, you know, Wonder Woman 84. I think it had a good concept because I don't know. I'd have to go back and look because the last couple of Thors had an 80s feel to it, even with
yeah.
the look and the music, and it worked for what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Um, this, I'm like, okay, Wonder Woman 1984, bam, you know, being an 80s baby, let's go ahead and let's see what you got.
Hmm.
Sorely disappointed, sorely disappointed. Um, yeah, it was very, very, uh, just all over the place. It was just very all over the place for me. And this Wonder Woman felt very she felt the way that she looked. She doesn't look strong. I hate to say it
Mm,
like that. She doesn't look strong. You don't look at Jade Cargill and say this woman doesn't look strong, right?
sure.
She
Right.
it just felt it didn't come with it. I don't know how else to say it.
Hmm.
It didn't come with it. It was a real disappointment. That the villain was weak. Um, Kristen Wiig was probably the best part of the film for me.
It's fair.
You know, and let's move on.
All
I
right.
don't know
Yeah.
how to say it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I mean, like we just kind of let that conversation peter out just like the movie did. I mean, I
Yeah,
think it's fair. Okay. Well, I'm just looking down the slate of DCU, and at this point, we can just kind of pull from it. So we we touch. I just want to say this real quick because I think we touched on it last night. But the Suicide Squad, David Ayer's Suicide Squad, who was, uh, I understand that there were different, there were creative differences, I guess, in the making of the movie and stuff. And there's always um, this sort of question about could he, um, I don't know, like could his cut see the light of day and stuff. I remember being really, really looking forward to this movie. One, the cast, it was our first, look at Harley Quinn and as a character, a different take on the Joker, which even at the beginning I was a little hesitant about seeing it with when I heard it was Jared Leto. I was like, whoa, okay, let me see that, because I'm old enough to remember when they announced Heath Ledger as the Joker and thinking that was going to be a terrible idea.
same.
Um, and then when I saw the first set photo, he wasn't even in full paint. It was like the cracked, faded paint, and you could see the
Yeah,
scars. I'm like, oh, we're dealing with something completely next level here. Okay. Because at that time, all you really had from Heath Ledger was like A Knight's Tale and 10 Things I Hate About You and
I
all things.
promise not to quit you. Yeah, but okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, it was before. Hey, wait, we had gotten that already, hadn't we? You're right.
Yeah, but this was
It came out the year before, 2 years before. You're right. Okay, I forgot about that.
this was
Um,
it for
yeah.
me.
So, I mean, honestly, all those movies, or at least the ones that I mentioned, I didn't see the other one. I never saw the other one. So, but the other two, I mean, were great. Like he is a great actor, right? Or
Yeah,
was. May he rest in peace. But yeah, and then he showed up, and I'm like, oh, shut my mouth, dude. That was fantastic. That was a generational performance. So then I find out that the writer of Training Day is going to be working on Suicide Squad as a writer and director. And I'm like, okay. And this is something that like it ends up not really mattering in the end, I suppose. But DC during that time went on a run of like Hall of Fame level teaser trailers. Like when they would put together a teaser trailer for a movie, I'm like, I'm so locked in. And this is one they did twice. They basically did music video style teaser trailers. And this was around the time, I'm not saying they were copying Marvel, but like multiple properties were doing this. Because I remember when the Punisher series for Netflix was coming out around this similar time, and they had done this trailer with what's that Metallica song? One. Um with and like synchronizing the bullets firing to the guitar playing and all this other stuff. And then so they go and they do 2 or 3 different trailers for Suicide Squad. They do one for an old Bee Gees song called I Started a Joke, which is a sad and twisted song. And then they do Bohemian Rhapsody for another trailer. And then they did one for Ballroom Blitz, which takes me back to Wayne's World. But it absolutely worked though. Like, and they did that gimmick a few times. And I'm like, okay. And I ended up not going to see it in movies anyways, because it was just during a time in our life where I couldn't make a lot of movies. But only to find out it was for the best that I didn't spend my money on it. That whew, that first movie sank hard, man. And like I was so so let me just give you guys a quick history lesson. Batman the animated series, and I mentioned it multiple times yesterday. That is the genesis of Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
As a character. A Saturday morning cartoon show is what gave us Harley Quinn. And she was voiced by Arlene Sorkin, who I remember her, like her and Uncle Joey from Full House were hosting like a companion show to America's Funniest Home Videos back in the day and stuff. And like she's just a sweet comedian lady, like, and like family friendly, all this stuff. Harley Quinn wears a full bodysuit, looks like a jester, a court jester. And then we get, I mean, Suicide Squad wasn't the first time it happened, but it's the first time we had a real person, Miss Margot Robbie, who, by the way, as an actress, great performance as Harley Quinn. She got a redo in James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and far better, by the way, far more respectful of her as a woman and as a character too. The way they had her dressed like a straight up prostitute in that movie, and like angled all the cameras and all this stuff. I'm just like, man, like I don't know what kind of lonely prepubescent, post-pubescent teens like you were marketing this film for, but like it just feels gross. Like and you know, I'm not made of paper. You know, I mean, I'm tough enough that if a movie's good enough, I can tolerate a minute or two of stuff that I don't like, but like the movie itself didn't deliver either. You talked about it last night. The villain was dorky. Like, I mean, and it was all so disappointing. And I'm not here to, you know, put James Gunn on any kind of throne or anything. And I don't want to make it sound like he can do no wrong, but like I far more enjoyed, between the cast, story, and plot of James Gunn's Suicide Squad, far more enjoyed that one. I mean, there's a difference, and I don't mean any disrespect when I say this, but there's a difference, a big man-sized difference between Idris Elba and Will Smith. When it comes to leading a squad of mercenaries. And also, you know what? I will continue to give him grief on his retirement tour, but John Cena as Peacemaker, though, good on you, sir.
Yeah.
You've found your niche, and you have out DC'd Dwayne.
Yeah.
And so, well done. So I enjoyed Gun Suicide Squad. I think I only saw it once. I might have seen it twice, but like it's been a long time since I've seen either one of them. But I just remember how I felt when I saw them, you know. And so all that to say, and yeah, Leto's Joker. I mean, I'll never know for sure, I guess, because they talk about the editing and the drama behind the movie getting cut to pieces and stuff. But what I saw, I was not impressed with. It's hard to follow Heath Ledger, but then also have Joaquin Phoenix come after you. Well, granted, he's like the Martin Scorsese Joker, looking like Taxi Driver and stuff. It's a whole different world, but yeah, he's at the bottom of the barrel of Jokers for sure for me. And I hate to use this phrase on the internet. It makes me roll my eyes, but I'll be a hypocrite, and it's not even close. It's just not that. So Apache Chief. Oh, sorry, I'm just seeing the chat. Yeah, absolutely, man. Talking about the old school Super Friend too, man.
Yeah.
I want to see some Martian Manhunter, if I'm being honest. If we're gonna get in the deep cuts with heroes, I always dug Martian Manhunter. Anyway, yeah. So thoughts on Suicide Squad, and if you want to, if you would like, because I know we talked about this before we got started, and I've tiptoed around it the whole time. If you want to lead us into any adjacent Batman thoughts you have as well, because we haven't talked about the man under the cowl specifically.
I have to, you know what? I honestly have to watch the Justice League again. I remember when we first watched it, we didn't like it at all, um, like at all, and I don't really remember a whole heck of a lot because I only watched it, I think, once, and so I actually think I might rewatch it tonight and get a feel for it. Um, the first one, it had potential, right? And this is the perfect example of you could have the studio backing, you could have stars, you could have the money, you could have the director, the writing, the whole shebang, and yet the film still doesn't work. And there's something to be said for that. What is it that this really did not connect with the audiences on? You could really pick it apart. There are a lot of different things in here. Like you said, Will Smith versus Idris Elba. He really is the Black Superman. Yeah, Will Smith is no Black Superman. You know, if anybody remembers that movie. But the
Man.
first one, it had potential, but seriously, and I cannot stress this enough. And this is what I was saying a little earlier with Wonder Woman. If your if your antagonist is just going to be weak and dorky, I can't. I not weak. Just you don't come off commanding like Galactus. Like you don't have that presence. If you're over here and you're dancing with some weird, you know what I'm saying? You're just gyrating some weird voice. Ooh, like do you know what I
Right.
mean? With a with
Yeah.
a flying tornado of space garbage.
Yeah.
I
Skybeam.
mean, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? It just for something that had such potential and it just failed. And I'll watch it when it comes on TV. If there's nothing else on, I'll watch it in the background. I'm not sitting there intently watching it, but there's some things that I do enjoy about it. Well, like you said, the way they treated Harley Quinn. I mean, was this the original 1960 Star Trek? Was Vince McMahon involved in this? This is great. I mean,
Yeah.
what
Right.
right? And then you turn into the Suicide Squad. The biggest problem, to the best of my recollection, that I have with the Suicide Squad is I if it's is it new or isn't it? Like I was touching on this yesterday. It was weird to me to have some of the same people from the first film in this film. It
Yeah.
it just it just felt weird. It didn't make
Yeah.
sense, and I wish they didn't do it. If you're
Yeah.
gonna do a full reboot like you did with this Superman 2025, do a full thing.
Yeah.
Don't do it half-hearted. It didn't make any sense because it really didn't connect to the previous one, and it was too soon for
Yeah.
this to be a reboot. The other one came out just a few years prior. It
Yeah.
it, it just didn't make sense, and it led to me. And even if it was a better film than Suicide Squad, to me it lends to a bigger problem with DC. Like, get your act together.
Yeah.
What you just did here, you're not doing anything that really is sitting right. It doesn't make any sense, and it is making you look all the more like what's the word? Scrambling. It looks like you're
Mhm.
scrambling to come out with something to compete
Yeah.
with the MCU, and it just wasn't working. And it's funny that it took all of that. It took all of this DC stuff. TV shows aside, we could talk about that, another time. And I don't think we could fit it all into into the show today. But it took all of that to give us Superman 2025.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to me. Like the time, the money, the effort, the careers that were made and broken in this. And I'll lead into Batman. I question Heath Ledger's Joker. I question Ben Affleck's Batman. And when I saw them, I went, okay, you've proven me wrong. I actually enjoyed what you've done here, even though Bruce Wayne was much older than he should have been at that time. Ben Affleck is actually a pretty tall guy. He's actually a pretty big
Mhm.
guy. You know, the Batsuit looked great.
Yeah.
And this is my point. This is my point. Every Batsuit has kind of had its thing, but the one thing that they've always had is some kind of, not talking about the Adam West stuff, but it
Yeah.
always had some kind of a muscular, you know,
A
tone to it.
formed, yeah.
You know what I
A
mean?
mold,
Like
if
a
you will.
mold that didn't make you look like it. There's a difference between Steve Rogers pre and post serum. You
Right.
follow me?
Yeah.
I don't want to see Steve Rogers pre serum. That's why I had an issue with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I
Mhm.
do you want and this bat suit, this guy looks he looked thick, you know.
Yeah.
And then when he put on the bat armor to fight Superman, I'm like, okay, this is comic bookish, this is cartoonish, this is what you're supposed to see. This is what it is, right? So you did your part. I love the fact that Batman, and I not having read the comic books, Superman, and I didn't touch on this yesterday. I really didn't know about the hypnotic glasses. I didn't know that was the thing. So
That, yeah. That
I didn't know.
honestly, that's lost to a lot of people. Like I didn't know
Yeah,
about that either until this most recent movie, and they
and it was
said no,
awesome.
that's actually canon. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
awesome, right?
Mhm.
So for Batman, you got to disguise your voice. And I love the fact that he used a voice modulator, Ben Affleck, that he used a voice modulator instead of Christian sort of doorness, you know, which was fine, you
But
know,
once
for
he
what it
committed
was.
to it,
Yeah, once he committed to it, you know. But
yeah, he had to go
you've
for
got
it.
to disguise your voice, right? So I appreciated that. I thought it was good. The issue that I had, and I'm going to be perfectly frank, and this is something I'm battling with. This is not just me as a speaking as a God fearing man. This is me as a what I prefer to see um, is the cussing in these films. That I take great exception to because it didn't exist in the cartoons. I don't know if they cuss in the comics because I didn't read them, but as far as I was concerned in my childhood, it didn't exist in the cartoons. So
Which
I don't
which
want to
one are we
see it.
talking about here? I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure I'm tracking with you.
I didn't mention that last night. I didn't like the cussing in
Oh,
Superman 20.
Superman. Oh yeah.
I don't like like in going back to Star Trek with the Star Trek Generations. Data actually dropped the S bomb before they crashed. I've
Hmm.
watched Star Trek all my life. I never, ever, ever heard anybody in all of Star Trek ever cuss. Because the whole point of Star Trek as the original intent was we had gone above and beyond the old stuff.
We've evolved
We're
as
not
people.
dealing with money. We're not doing like we're new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you shouldn't have done that. That was just a cheap pop, and it shouldn't have been done.
Yeah.
Transformers was another one. I grew up watching Transformers. Transformers
Bro.
never cussed. They never cussed. They just didn't.
Trans- Transformers has been defiled, has long been defiled.
I,
I'll say this about the story because I think that's a good sentiment to have. And chat, any of you who have seen Superman and if you can recall, please correct me. I know Green Lantern was a big offender in that movie for the salty language. Maybe Lex, but like other than that, were there other characters you can remember it
Lois
clicking
Lane.
with you? Lois, okay.
Lois Lane. She said,
Yeah.
"Holy." She
Yeah, I
did.
don't love that about Lois because I was going to say this is that if they had kept it to Green Lantern, because this iteration of Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, is kind of that kind of dude.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit, even though like I think I could tolerate it if it was not a pervasive element of the movie, but rather it was a character trait to a specific character. You know what I mean? Like if it were to have happened in Star Wars, for instance, glad it doesn't. But in the original Star Wars, if Han Solo was the only one who cussed, you would understand it because he's smuggler. He's a smuggler. He's rough around the edges. You know, he's that guy, right? And Green Lantern is that kind of character in this movie. And if he had been the only one, what's that?
Yeah, like I said, he shot first. Yeah,
right. Yeah, yeah, he shot first. So I mean, of course, he's going to shoot off at the mouth a little bit too. But you know, so I feel that, and honestly, yeah, like Transformers completely done. And you make a great point about Star Trek too, because that's always supposed to be like the idealized version of space in the future, in terms of like we're explorers, we're not space pirates, we're going out to explore all the stuff William Shatner says in the opening monologue of the episode, to explore new worlds, to boldly go in them, all that stuff. And yeah.
How is this? And I was a little taken aback by that. As I'm like, wait a minute, Superman, you don't talk like that.
Yeah. And honestly,
go ahead.
I was about to say, I like for more times than he didn't, Superman talked like a kid growing into Christian youth camps. Like he was like, what the heck? Like a lot of gee golly swears, and I'm like, you know what? If he grew up in Smallville his whole life and those were his parents, like I can see that, but he also did.
I can expect it,
Yeah, he also did listen to the punk rock music though.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like on the fence, because it's like you're in the real world and real world people cuss. So there's a part of me that says, okay, I get it. But it's also a part of me that says in this world, it just generally doesn't happen.
Yeah. Superman shouldn't.
No.
Yeah, I think it should only be consistent with the construct or makeup of who the characters are at the very
most. With this particular Green Lantern, I get it. I can get
makes
that.
a little more sense. But like or Peacemaker, like there's a little cameo there, like that's the kind of thing. But you talk about that though, and about the worlds and stuff. I am so you're right. We talked about our similar reactions to the casting of Heath Ledger, back in the day. When Ben Affleck's casting was announced, I remembered how I felt about Heath Ledger, and I was posting with my friends, and I'm like, cards on the table. I prefer Ben Affleck behind the camera instead of in front of the camera. I think he's a better director than he is an actor. He's the Triple H of Hollywood. That's what I've always said. Triple H and Ben Affleck are one and the same to me. I prefer them behind the camera instead of in front of the camera. But nevertheless, I was like, you know what, though? I was wrong about Heath Ledger. Let me see what Ben Affleck gives us. And he brought it, man. Like he was great. The storytelling didn't do him a lot of favors in Batman v Superman, but he and I said, and I gave props to Jeremy Irons as Alfred last night too. Like their pairing was really good. And I love his what was it? Like his finally getting like some solid Batman fight scenes. Like his clearing the room stuff was like, okay, this is it right here. This is what I've been waiting for. But that being said, I would have to go back. The movie's so long. I really haven't gone back to watch it again. But I really did enjoy, for the most part, a few things here or there, minor nitpicks, Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah.
Because now he's like year 2. So he's kind of a young Batman. So I can forgive him not having the aged CrossFit look like Ben Affleck does. But also they take more time to explore, much like, we were kind of talking about with Star Trek. Like Batman is a cerebral hero. Like, so he does just as much detective work as he does, skull cracking. And so I appreciate them bringing the Riddler in as the first villain. So there is a little bit of a psychological aspect to figuring out what's going on, and solving crime and stuff. And I kind of liked his. I really love that they did his sort of monologuing as well, or the narration, like the voiceover stuff in the Batman and his Batman. So like the way, and maybe that's less to do with Pattinson, but Pattinson's just holding his own as an actor. But I love the presentation of this Batman. I feel a little old that Nirvana is the background music here, you know, but it works really well though. like I feel like they capture the mood. I feel like if Batman existed in another movie's world, like this is what it would be like if Batman existed in Seven, like in the movie Seven. Like that's how I feel. And so like, and I feel like that's kind of what Gotham City really is. It's like the city where Seven takes place. And so anyway, I'm oh, what are the box? Yeah. No, man, Brad Pitt changed my life in that, or might changed my perspective on him in that movie. He went from pretty boy to like, oh, dang, he's got chops. In that movie. And I've been a fan of his ever since. But nevertheless, yeah, I love that universe, and if they decide to leave that universe where it is and not have it touch the rest of the DC movies, I'm okay with it. And if they have that and this Superman meet, as long as both of those guys stay true to who they are, that could work. But it's good that they're going to have to be very, very careful in that. Tum Tum from Three Ninjas. You know why Tum Tum was the best, Three Diglets? Because he wasn't distracted by the ladies. That's why, because Rocky loves Emily. We all know that. We all know that Rocky loves Emily. And do you know who the second ninja was? No, you don't remember him because he's at home washing his tights. Bring it back to DC. Colt, that's who it was. I couldn't remember. Of course, he's named after a pistol. Well, of course, he's a hothead.
That's fantastic.
Thank you, Three Diglets. Yeah, Tum Tum could light you up like the dummy.
That's why he is the GOAT. Yeah, I agree with you. I thought Robert Pattinson's Batman, I thoroughly enjoyed the film more than I thought I would. I went into that film with really no expectations. But they did a fine job. They did a very fine job. Like you said, it was what, year two?
Yeah.
Young Bat, I mean, just getting started. It made sense. No issues with it. No cons with it overall. It did what it needed to do and show this guy at a very young age. When it comes to Batman, there have been so many actors that have played this character, some good, some not so good. You can go back to Michael Keaton. I remember people when Michael Keaton was cast back in, what was it, 88, 89?
Yeah.
He was young 89, so he was cast probably like 88. People weren't feeling it.
Mr. Mom. Yeah.
Yeah, Mom. They weren't feeling it. They were not feeling it. And he proved them wrong.
Bro, he
proved
did.
them wrong. Up to that point, him and Jack Nicholson, that was the bar.
Yeah.
That was the bar.
You want to get nuts?
Come on.
Let's get nuts.
And it was an amazing performance, because for me, The Dark Knight is somebody that if there's a fine line between vigilante and villain.
Yeah.
Very fine. And to play this character, to play Bruce Wayne, who is he's that's probably this is probably the other thing. I know we keep going back to Superman. I want to talk about it. That's probably the other thing I didn't like about Superman 2025. I didn't like his Clark. I didn't think his Clark was aloof enough for me.
Aloof.
Yeah, he was.
You think Clark is aloof, or should be aloof? I could see why Bruce would be aloof.
Maybe
I
aloof
absolutely see that.
I would maybe. I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for.
detached, maybe, or something, or I don't know. But that's kind of like aloof, but
Drunken monkey. There we go.
okay.
Drunken.
Not drunken monkey enough. Fair enough. That's
He
true. He
wasn't
wasn't very drunken monkey.
drunken monkey enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was hard to differentiate. All I saw was Superman. I didn't really see Clark.
Okay.
I
You couldn't
saw
see him transform.
Yeah, I
I
couldn't see that transition.
And to that point, Christopher Reeve. All you need is like one GIF. There's a shot of him. It's either in Superman or Superman 2. Like he's on a date with Lois, but like he's wearing the glasses and he's still in full like civilian Clark suit,
Yeah.
but he just takes off the glasses and like straightens his posture a little bit. And that man, one of the most basic looking white men you've ever seen in your life, completely transforms in front of you. I liked his Clark okay, but I think Reeve, Reeve is still the standard for me, and for a lot of people in that. I will say this about both Superman and Batman, these two iterations that we currently have in front of us. Something that I actually really appreciate is that Batman is in year 2. This Superman is in year 3, and it gives them room to grow. It gives them room to fully become realized into the versions that we all expect them to be as heroes, because Superman is still good and he is still always making the right choice, which is something like I want to see out of Superman. But he does wrestle with it. He gets emotional over it. He's maybe not very good at arguing his position, even though he knows he's doing the right thing, you know? Like he can get out argued and stuff, but he's like, people are going to die and I don't want that to happen. So boom, I'm out, like I'm doing this. And at the end of the day, yeah, that's all Superman needs to know. But he hasn't come to that place of composure yet to do that. And on the other side of that coin, Pattinson's Batman is also like where Clark is a little, and I wouldn't go so far as to call him emotionally unstable, but maybe just a little emotionally unrealized. Like he's just still growing. Take all of that's like frustration and going towards hope, and Batman's like all that frustration and going towards justice. Like, and he is possessed by vengeance and violence right now, or at least was in the beginning. Because like, talk about teaser trailers, man. When he walks out of that dark alley and all those clown looking gang members are like, who are you? And he beats the brakes off of that guy. And you think the scene's going to cut, and then he goes in for more. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then he gives you the line, I'm vengeance. I'm like, okay, Edward Cullen, you got my money, dog. I'm sorry about all the stuff I said about you as a vampire. I take it all back, dude. Please leave me. Please protect me. And so, but he hasn't learned how to get that vengeance to loosen its grip on him yet either. And so they're both early, and they both have room to grow and develop as heroes, which I think is really cool because they're still making this. The movie, the writers of those movies are still writing them as characters to make the choices that those heroes should be making, but you can see that they are not fully realized as heroes yet. And you know what? I guess I want to give them credit because that's probably harder to do than it sounds. This, in the Christian faith, we call that the already but not yet kind of thing. Like, but we know who we're going to be, but we're still trying to turn into it, trying to transform into it, and it's both of them in that way. And I love being able to see that get played out the way that it is. But I'll say this too. One more thing that I really, really loved about the Batman movie that almost like choked me up. At the end is like, there was a lot. It was a lot of politics and a lot of social commentary in that movie that I felt like was excessive. I mean, social commentary doesn't bother me in existence because there was a ton of it in Superman too, but that didn't bother me. But I don't know. It was a lot of, rich or socioeconomic disparities and stuff like that. I didn't really love the presence of Catwoman in that movie. I mean, like if she wasn't in it, I wouldn't have missed her. I guess. Like, it wasn't bad. It was just there was so much happening in that movie. Like, it didn't, I wasn't drawn to her scenes. But at the end, when like the whole, I'm going to call it Madison Square Garden because I don't know what they called it in Gotham City, but it was Madison Square Garden. When the flood breaks out and everything, and Batman shows up, and like, he's put himself he's in a position where, he needs to rescue a politician, and you see him reach down, but he rescues a child first. Yeah. And I'm like, that is the vigilante hero who is driven by the fact that he doesn't ever want a child to go through what he went through as a child again. Yeah. And like that being the first choice, like that as a Batman and this Superman that we see now, like doing those things is like I love who they've given us now, and they may not cross paths, and if not, it's okay, as long as they still do right individually by those characters. JR said, I feel the Batman character will never lose that revenge factor as Parasite. Yeah, and I don't think he should be done with it. There's just a difference between controlling your anger and letting your anger control you.
Yeah.
And this Bruce in that movie was a little more controlled by his anger. And even then, like I appreciate more recently, like Michael Caine was doing this with Christian Bale a little bit towards the end of that trilogy. These Alfreds who are coming along and pointing out, if you don't slow down, you are going to kill yourself. Like, and then who's going to protect the city? All that kind of stuff. So anyway, Diglets, we were just talking about the Pattinson, if you will, Batman movie. And we are kind of hopping around, I got to admit at this point, but nevertheless. So, but you know what? That's what we do sometimes. So, yeah, man. I mean, we haven't talked about Aquaman. Do you want to talk about Aquaman? Hey, I will ask you.
There's not a whole heck of a lot that I want to say about Aquaman. When it comes to to finish with I get why they decided to cast Aquaman the way that they did.
Sure.
I get it. I thought he was fine the way that he was in Justice League. His standalone film, I like better than the last one. The last one was just for obvious reasons, it was just a hot mess.
Yeah.
There are a ton of movies. People don't understand this. There are a ton of movies that get made. There are a ton of TV shows that actually get made that will never see the light of day. They are made, and for reasons unknown, they are scrapped, they are shelved, and there they shall remain. They call them the lost tapes whenever they decide to put them out. Aquaman 2 is one of those that should have remained as the lost tapes. The lost Aquaman 2 of Atlantis.
Nobody cared by the time it came out because all the news was already out that this was like the dying ember of the DCU. Like, everybody knew nothing was coming after this. And I don't know anybody who really cared all that much about it.
Well, it was like the, what was that last match with Brock and
the Brock Goldberg WrestleMania 20 match?
Yeah, everybody worked out. Nobody cared.
Yeah,
nobody cared. It was an audience takeover, and it sucked. It sucked, because you're still showing up to work. You still got something that you're trying to give to the people and hoping that somebody will enjoy it. Enjoy it.
The audience took over Aquaman, and they all stayed at home.
What can you do? And we didn't watch it in the theater. We watched it, here at home. And thankfully, if I paid money to see that in the theater, I would have been pissed.
Yeah, no doubt. The first Aquaman, and it was just bad timing, but like, I'm not going to say it was a copy, but like, it was just far too reminiscent of Black Panther to me. And they came out in the same year. So like, by the time we watched it, I'm like, I'm entertained, but like, I feel like I've seen this. It's like watching I'm not going to do it. I was going to make a wrestling reference, but I'm just going to say, I feel like I've seen this match done better on a bigger scale. And I feel like I'm watching it in a smaller arena. And there's a loud subset of fans who are really trying to make me believe it's the best thing. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I know we could probably be getting close to wrapping up at this point, which, by the way, I just want to thank everybody for rocking with us tonight about this. A couple of things I just want to throw out there, AJ, and you, in as much or as little, because I've got the time, but as much or as little as you want to say. There's 2 properties we have not touched. Technically 3, but I'm going to smush 2 of them together. Okay, Diglets, bring your quote in, and I will respond to it. But I'm going to throw these 2 properties out at A and see what he's got to say. 1 is the Flash, and 2 is combo meal of Shazam and Black Adam, which we have talked about Black Adam once or twice throughout our wrestling talks. But the Flash.
Well, first off, let me ask you this question: who's faster, Superman or the
Flash? See, that's a great. That I don't know that I have an answer for you. I mean, it depends on where.
We'll never know now.
Yeah.
You know, they did the race. We'll never know.
Mm-hmm. I will say, if it's Cavill and Ezra Miller, it's going to be Superman, because Ezra Miller's just going to do something stupid to lose the race. He doesn't have the maturity. Like, I think he's got the speed. I don't know which one has more speed, but I think both this and the last Superman have more intelligence, have more race intelligence. Than Barry does.
Well, keep in mind, it was Superman, 1979 Superman, that reversed the rotation of the Earth to save the love of his life. I don't think Flash has that kind of speed. That's just.
I mean, he did do. Well, I mean, he did do Flashpoint, man. Like he
did. It's up for debate. I don't know, but going with the Flash, actor aside, it was what it was. He was fine as part of the ensemble cast. I didn't have too much. I didn't have too little. You know, I had for me, I had just the right amount of Flash. Now, fast forward to the Flash movie, the standalone film. The thing that I loved about that was the nostalgia feel, bringing back Michael Keaton's Batman. Towards the end of that film, you had all the universes, and you see all the different versions of everybody just popping in here. Christopher Reeve, Helen Slater, which I have to mention this because it is technically speaking DC, but if anybody has ever had the misfortune of seeing Helen Slater's Supergirl, I'm so sorry. It is one of the worst pieces of cinematic trash.
Piece of mucky crap. No.
Oh my gosh, that film was so. It's a perfect example of sometimes things in the 80s just
need to stay there.
Just need to stay there. It just wasn't. But with that, it still brought back that Helen Slater Supergirl. So that was really the nostalgia pop for me. Was really the best part of the Flash movie. Aside from that, it was whiny and mopey and cryy, and I'm just like, dude, I was like Bernie Mac, do some push-ups or something. Put some hands in your chest. Okay, you gonna be obsessed? Someone messing around with me. I mean,
anybody get your punk ass some milk and cookies?
I'm serious. You know, he running his bow leg. I mean, I couldn't. I couldn't. I was looking at Becky. I'm like, he's got to stop. He's got to stop this whining.
Yeah.
It was 2.5 hours of whining. But yeah, the Flash overall. Yeah, but the movie was. I mean, the TV show again. We don't have time to get into these TV shows. You know, we'll talk about the TV shows another time. I guess we're doing movie. You know, DC stuff. Sure. Like I said, actor aside, I think as an ensemble, I think it was where it should have stayed.
Fair enough. Three Diglets, just want to let you know I've got your comments starred. I will comment on it real quick after we. Actually, let me go ahead and comment on it now, and then I'll give my thoughts on the Flash. So the quote you've got here is: "Peace has cost you your strength. Victory has defeated you." So my thoughts on that quote. Number one, and this might feel like a cop out. I always want to be like, well, what's the context of this quote? When would we be using it? But in a vacuum, just to answer your question, I don't see peace and strength as mutually exclusive. I think achieving peace makes you strong. It's a sign of strength to be able to achieve peace. Victory has defeated you is a nice little it is a nice little sentiment. It honestly reminds me of the song "Eye of the Tiger" and Rocky 3. Like the idea that, victory and success can make you complacent. But I don't think peace I don't think peace is the enemy of success ever. I don't think we need turmoil to be great. I mean, I think turmoil can make us great, but not to the degree that we should seek it out to stay sharp. I think the truest strength is learning how to be strong in a peaceful situation. I mean, because otherwise, and I'm not talking to you, Three Diglets. I'm just speaking out into the void. But to a degree, that sounds like trauma talking. Like I need chaos in my life to be stronger. And that's not true. I'm not saying it can't. I'm not saying it can't be true. Obviously, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger and all that other stuff. But it's not a necessity. So the first half of that quote, I would take issue with. The second half, I can absolutely see truth in that. I don't know. So anyway, I'm curious where that comes from, and if that comes from a DC movie, and I've completely forgotten, then I stand corrected and embarrassed, which it probably did. It sounds like something Bane would have said to Batman. To be honest,
wasn't that? I think that was Bane, right?
It was like, peace has cost you your strength. Victory has defeated you. Bane did say it. Okay, I was about to say I could recognize it because, you merely adopted the darkness. I was born in it, molded by it. Nobody cared who I was until I put on the mask. Anyway,
you're missing.
I loved Tom Hardy's Bane, man. I loved his iteration of that character, man. But that's great. Yeah, would be very painful for you. But anyway, so the Flash, right? I never ever cared for Ezra Miller as the Flash in any iteration, and also part of that comes from me watching the TV show. Grant Gustin was a great Flash. The first 3 to 4 seasons of that show were some of the best of any superhero TV show. Really enjoyed that. Okay, good to know. Well, when I go to the gym, maybe I'll write that down and say that to myself when I'm doing reps. Yeah. Victory has defeated you. Nevertheless, so the Flash. I do think it gets a bad rap from people. I do not think it is as bad as the haters of it say that it is. It's not among the best either, but I actually think it's better than it gets credit for. The cameo fest at the end is a little bit uncanny valley for me, with some of the CGI of it, but the idea of it I was really excited about seeing, especially Nicolas Cage and the giant spider, which you kind of have to dig deep on the internet. But Kevin Smith tells a story about like he was going to be the writer of that Superman movie, and that was something one of the producers wanted was for Nicolas Cage's Superman to fight a giant spider in the third act of the movie. So the fact that they did that was like just immense fan service. But also, and I want to say this loud and clear, the Flash of all the DC movies, in my opinion, gave us Ben Affleck's best Bruce Wayne moment. of the entire DCU when he's sitting outside of Barry's apartment. And we know we're getting Flashpoint already from the trailers and all this other stuff. But Barry tries to empathize with Bruce, and like he's just being real. And I gotta give Ezra Miller credit; he acted well here to say, "I could save my mom," and then he stops and he looks at Bruce and he goes, "I could save your parents, Bruce." And like, what an apple on the tree! What a forbidden fruit moment for Bruce Wayne. And Bruce, and I think that it was a good thing that he's playing older Bruce at this point, because I don't know that I would have bought it from younger Bruce at that point. He almost no sells it immediately. And he's like, our scars and our wounds make us who we are, Barry.
Yeah.
He's like, and there's nothing wrong with you. And like, honestly, Zack Snyder's Justice League had a similar moment with Cyborg when he was being like, the best thing I could say is tempted by the mother boxes when he sees his family, and like when he has the resolve and the strength to declare that he's not broken. He's not a broken man. Like, he is exactly who he needs to be in that moment, and it shoes it away. Ben Affleck's scene there was so good. And in a way too, I'm almost like, man, we rushed through that scene so fast. I wish we could have like sat in that for a moment before jumping to some silly gag, So there are a lot of diamonds in that movie. You just kind of have to get through the coal a little bit to see them. But yeah, I feel like if we'd had Grant Gustin in that movie instead of Ezra Miller, I think it would have been even better. And also the Supergirl in that movie wasn't bad. I don't think she was bad either. But yeah, seeing Michael Keaton again was a lot of fun. Seeing him put on the cowl one more time was great. I loved that as well. But at the end of the day, again, it's just typical DCU. Is you're pulling DC Comics, I would argue, actually has better stories than Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And DC's execution of those stories had me frustrated to no end. We talked about this last night, how Batman v Superman was just a casserole of 2 or 3 of their best stories they had to work with. Like, they bring in Wonder Woman, and then they do the Dark Knight Returns, which is Batman fighting Superman, and Doomsday, the death of Superman, like all in one movie. And I'm like, why are we doing this all in one movie? Like, you can spread this out. These are great stories. And Flashpoint is another fantastic story as well, where Barry goes and changes the past, and there's crazy complications and consequences for it. And so DC's animated universe did all those stories that I referenced, and their animated Flashpoint has a scene where Bruce is actually the one who dies in the alternate reality, not his parents. And his father becomes a far more vengeful Batman, and his mother goes crazy and turns into the Joker. And Barry finds Thomas Wayne and talks to him, and he finally restores everything and comes back, but he comes back to his reality with a letter from Thomas Wayne written to Bruce to say, if you could ever speak to your son again, what would you have told him? And like, he gives that, he's able to give that to Bruce as a gift. And like, and this is like hardened Bruce Wayne, Batman at this story. And even then you just see him slowly take it without kind of acknowledging. And it is, man, it was so, and that's all animation too, man. And that was such a touching, like, end of the, such a touching end to the movie, of Bruce getting a chance to hear from his father from beyond the grave, which is really, really cool. So, but they didn't do any of that, and they gave us George Clooney instead at the end. So,
I had no qualms with it, because he was probably the worst Batman in the entire canon.
He went on an apology tour. George Clooney did.
as well.
Yeah,
He should have. He should
and
still
he
be
did.
doing it to this day.
Yeah.
And that's why I loved it. I'm like, oh my gosh, you just gave us the worst Batman to ever have existed at the end of this film, redemption for George
Mhm.
Clooney. I loved it. I absolutely loved it because I hated it so much. Batman and Robin was terrible,
Oh, it was bad.
terrible,
The Schumacher
terrible.
films were not great. I mean, Batman
No,
Forever. Actually, I like. I actually like Batman Forever, but
Kilmer's Batman was actually it was lighthearted. It
Kilmer
was
was
just,
teetering on the edge, and Clooney just jumped off the cliff.
he
Like,
didn't he didn't even try. He
yeah,
didn't even try. He didn't even try. And why should he?
yeah,
He didn't even want to do it. He didn't like
yeah,
being in the suit. It just
yeah,
the film sucked. The film sucked.
yeah.
Let's just move on.
It
I
did.
can't even watch this day.
Absolutely
You
did.
had mentioned something, and you were right in regards to the Flash. The CGI at the end was a little much, but we got what we got,
Yeah.
and appreciate the nostalgia pop of it. But I know when you mentioned, well, I think we were going to round out with um, Black Adam and
Shazam.
Shazam and Superman. So let me just say this real quick. I've given this a lot of thought. This Black Adam is controversial. I had
Mm,
issues right out of the gate. I thought The Rock needed to shut it. He
the
needed to shut his
hierarchy
mouth,
of
know his
DC
roles, and shut his mouth.
is about to change.
Dude, stop, 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 stop.
Dude wants to be the final boss in real life so bad.
Dude, he was like, do me a favor, let Batman, Superman, one like all he was, let them all know. I'm like, stop, stop. Dude, you don't understand what you're doing. Like I'm like, you don't understand what you're doing. You're pissing off the fans before this thing even gets started. Slow your roll and shut your mouth. Take a
Black
nice
Adam
long walk.
Black Adam's plan to fight Superman didn't work, so he came to WWE to try to fight Cody Rhodes. And that didn't work either.
Oh my gosh.
Man wants to fight a Superman in the worst way.
I
And he
I
turned
like
their
the
other Superman heel in John Cena.
don't and that's still a don't see. It's still too soon. It's still too soon.
I'm just needling you, man.
Sensitive.
I'm just trying to get you to pop, bro.
You just hit the elbow.
Don't worry, B's already in the chat, just taking us to task already.
I'm not hating it. Here's the issue that I had with Black Adam. I actually enjoyed Black Adam. Okay, I did. Overall, I did. Um, there are three things that I have major issue with Black Adam, and let me know if I'm mistaken. Number one, I'll be real quick. Number one, I don't remember the time frame that Klondike or whatever it was, Klondike Bar, wherever he
Uh-huh.
was, to when he popped into modern day. This dude didn't speak a lick of English, not a lick. Okay, there was no universal translator. He
Right.
had real quick communication with these regular English talking folk, like real quick. Okay, I don't know if he used some magic that we didn't see, which should have been done. I had issue with that. That's number one. Number two, and number two and number three. Well, no, actually, no, the same. Number two, the enemy at the end just looked like a regular old devil. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I did not like that. I thought it was weak, and I personally don't even care. If that's how this person looked in the comics or whatever. I did not care. For the
Sure.
purposes of this movie, it was too weak. I
Mm-hmm.
did not like the way that this guy looked. He just looked like just your average, stereotypical devil with the horns and the teeth and the hooves and sitting on the thing. I hated that. And the fire, it just was weak to me. I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, you're not going to break any box office gates with that kind of a villain, man. You got to set the gate
Did not.
records, man.
And three, and most importantly, and I'm going to do 3.5, but three, and most importantly, the end of the film. I like the fact that you brought Amanda Waller back in here, some way, somehow. Okay, he's on this planet. It was a weird jump from where he was to like all of a sudden he's someplace else. It was weird, but he's on this planet. Waller shows up. He says, "Bring them all." Destroys the thing. In comes Superman. I love the fact that you wanted to bring back Henry Cavill Superman. I get it. I get why you wanted to do it, and I had no issue with that. However, you should have also brought in Shazam.
Yeah.
Shazam was your opposite, not so much Superman. So what I would have preferred to have seen, that scene could have played out the way that it did, but then Shazam pulls up immediately afterwards with his kind of goofy self. And then they're
Yeah.
both turning and they both look at Shazam, and there's a moment. Cut. That's it. Even if you don't want Shazam in here, you had an obligation to bring Shazam in there. And this is my biggest issue with Dwayne DJ, is that he always wants to do it his way because he thinks that his way is the best way. And the
Yeah.
reality is, for somebody that wants to raise the bar all the time for the fans, and you literally are not giving the fans what the fans are supposed to get in this character's antithesis, then you are doing a disservice to the fans and you are serving yourself. And that, sir, is unforgivable. Those
Yeah.
are the three major things that I had issues with Black Adam. The point five is the gentleman who I cannot remember his character's name right now, Pierce Brosnan's character.
Dr. Fate, baby.
You know, again, this is just a me thing when it comes to my superheroes and everybody just like checking out. I have an issue with it. I don't particularly like it. I don't think it's necessary. And I've said this a million and one times, and I'm going to continue to do so.
The
And this,
hero, the casting, the performance. I just want to make sure.
if you are going to have a character die in a film, I understand sometimes characters die just cause. But for somebody that's an integral part of the movie, your that character's death is supposed to push another character's arc over. That's the purpose of having that character die. And that's the only purpose for having that character die. You got to push somebody else's character over the top someplace else. You got to push them to a different point. And if you don't, then what was the point of that death? That death was meaningless. His
Yeah.
death to me was meaningless. It seemed on the surface like heroic and like I'm doing this for a special. Like, don't do it, Clark. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Put your hand down. Put your
Yeah.
hand down. Put your helmet back on. This could be done a different way because they
The
didn't do
Flash,
anything for anybody.
the Flash TV show did a similar execution of a sacrifice that way, and it was much more to what you're describing, uh, in seeing a prophecy of a death and seeing what they could do to try to avoid it. And I'll say this, yeah, I'll say the positive is that I actually really enjoyed the supporting cast of Black Adam, um, and seeing those characters like I used to rock with Hawkman and Doctor Fate, like, and the Superpowers, Super
Mm-hmm.
Friends toys, like, all those dudes, like, and so like it was awesome to see them on screen. It's just yeah, it is a and like if DC and I thought about bringing this up earlier in the conversation, I'll just drop it now, just to and not necessarily explore it too deep, but sometimes I wonder would they have been better off just trying not to do a universe and just telling good stories with each hero. And you could put certain heroes in there, like you still could have done. I mean, no, not Black Adam, but you could have done a few other heroes and had somebody in the story with them, like you did. But if they were so tied to world building, to compete with Marvel, obviously, that I don't feel one, they didn't have the continuity, and two, they didn't have the discipline to stay true to their characters either. Like, if you wanted, I mean, if I was at one, I don't think Warner Brothers cared about it as a studio as much as Disney probably cared about what Marvel was doing. And I don't know if DC, I mean, they had Zack Snyder on for some of it, but they didn't really have like a Kevin Feige, like one guy really like looking over a lot of the stuff to my knowledge. Maybe they did, I'm not sure, but I don't think they did for the entirety of things. And if I'm in that role though, and I know Dwayne Johnson wants to be a Dwayne Johnson level popular hero, I'm not going to let him be a villain be a character who has been a villain. I'll say that. Like, let us find another character for you to play, and then you can be a badass hero if you want to, and we'll figure that out for you. But like, this ain't Black Adam's not the role for that. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think, and because yeah, if you are true to who Black Adam is, I don't think DJ wants to play him. Like, I mean, um, Mr. Nanny greater than Black Adam. You know what was better than Black Adam? No holds barred. Starring Zeus, Tiny Lister, Debo himself. Yeah. It's like, give me that champ. Give me that belt, chump. It's my bike now. Anyway, so nevertheless, yeah, like, so like you could look at it from two ways, but I don't think letting DJ be DJ in a movie, but also having him in that role is not good, because I mean, I was already perplexed when I heard he was playing Black Adam, because I'm like, is he really going to end up down the line squaring up with the guy who played Chuck on TV? Like that doesn't like, character wise, yes, Shazam and Black Adam rivals, man, but like, I just am not sure about that. So it is, you know, there were things that I liked about it, but at the end of the day, I just don't like the retelling. We said this in the last episode. I don't like stories that have rules in their universe and they don't abide by the rules in that universe. Like, and so it is what it is. But the and now that's gone. So like, we're done with it. I've heard rumors that some of those characters might return. I don't know if the actors will, but like, some of those characters might return. I mean, we already have Hawk Girl. Maybe we'll see Hawkman again. Maybe we could just
Well, it
hit
makes
a
me wonder. Rock did say, and I don't know if he was saying this to save face or not, but he did
uh-huh.
say we're going to be doing something down the line. Like when this whole thing shut down, like when it
Uh-huh.
was official, he did mention something like, we're putting a pause on it, but it's not like a hard stop. I don't know if you remember him
He
saying
said that about Cody too. I don't. I mean, I just, I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, I'm not saying he's lying, but I'm just like, I am no longer shutting up and strapping in for the ride that you're taking me on. Like, there is no ride. We learned from WrestleMania, there is no ride. It's just, do you wake up one day and have the free time in your schedule to interfere with something or do a thing again? Like, he can go ahead and make the Smashing Machine. I'm looking forward to seeing the Smashing Machine. I'm very interested in him playing Mark Coleman. This Scorsese movie where he's some Hawaiian gangster or something like that. I can't wait to see a trailer for that. Like, I think we're gonna see less and less of the final boss, because we'll have to see what the reviews of the Smashing Machine are like. But I think we're gonna see less and less of the final boss in WWE, because he's getting away from box office Dwayne and starting to sink his teeth into some more Batista like roles, like some actual like substance characters, which I'm happy for him, because when he does that well, when Batista does that well, when Cena does that well, wrestlers are more respected as actors, and they're not just Stallones and Schwarzeneggers, who are respected in a different kind of way. But like, I like it when wrestlers can be viewed as the actual talented performers they are, aside from what they do with their bodies. And I do 100% believe Dwayne can do that. But like, this was just, I don't know, it was just, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. Like, and it just, it felt way too Dwayne. This is going to be a simultaneous compliment and criticism at the same time. He's very much like Arnold Schwarzenegger to me. Like, he is the new Arnold Schwarzenegger, which every movie he makes will probably make a lot of money. He is box office like, and I'm not saying that he's not a draw, right? He's a draw, but he's kind of the same guy in every movie. Like, here's the plot, and now let's put this movie star in there. So that's why I'm looking forward to things like the Smashing Machine and the Scorsese movie, because like it'll give him a shot to transform. Because have you seen the trailers for the Smashing Machine? Go watch one. I'll send you one. Like some of those scenes unrecognizable.
Oh, you know what? I think
The
I did.
UFC fighter movie.
Maybe I did see it once. It was late at night, so I don't really
Yeah.
remember a whole lot about it. But I think I did see it once.
But yeah, so I mean, like, I think he's got a lot of potential to finally like shed the blockbuster actor reputation. And I'm not saying he'll never come back to it or anything like that, because they're doing another Fast and Furious movie. I think they're doing one more of those. But I think he should get the right to do that. You know what I mean? So I think he should be able to stretch out into those areas, and not have that. So
You would say Schwarzenegger because there was that one movie where they passed each other, right when The Rock was starting out. I think it was The Rundown.
it's one of the oh yeah, rundown.
Right when
I
they
think it
had
was the
that moment,
rundown.
like the passing of they literally were doing that and they just kind of looked at each other. And I think Schwarzenegger said good luck, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken. Right. So it's funny. It's like, yeah, he took the place of Schwarzenegger in that way. Yeah, I see what you
yeah,
mean.
yeah.
They
It's a bit
both
of a torch moment there.
so that's their problem.
Yeah,
So what are you gonna do?
yeah. I would argue, by the way, with B real quick, that Kevin Costner and Keanu Reeves have both established far more range in their roles than Dwayne has so far. Kevin Costner's given us Field of Dreams and Dances with Wolves and Bull Durham and Batman and Man of Steel, unfortunately. But and then Keanu is both Neo, and he's done rom coms, and he is Ted Theodore Logan, and John Wick. So like there's a lot of variety there. However, Dwayne's got, and I want to be clear, Dwayne's got roles coming up that are going to prove that he can be that guy or he can't. So I'm waiting to see what those things do before I make any sort of final determinations. But subjectively, Black Adam wasn't for me, and a lot of that just has to do with the fact that Black Adam belongs to Shazam, not to Superman, and it just left a bad taste in my mouth. But
it was the wrong move.
That universe is over, and now we have a new one ahead of us. Yeah. So Superman, has got us into a new place. We're gonna get another Batman movie pretty soon. Part 2. And then sorry, I thought I had a if you want to say anything, I'm just gonna try to look for another timeline of some things that are coming. But go ahead.
No. I have to agree. I mean, again, I know fans were clamoring for a Henry Cavill return, and he gave us that. But again, this was The Rock, this was Dwayne Johnson's ego getting in the way. So this is going to be the showdown, having Black Adam versus Superman.
Yeah.
And I understand why he wanted to do it, but it was the wrong move. Solely as doing that, you should have had, and it was so simple. I said this about professional wrestling all the time. It's a very simple fix. That scene played out exactly the way that it did, no difference except at the end when we need to talk and we have the look of Black Adam, and then, hey guys, and then they both turn and Shazam just pops in there, or he's already standing there eating an apple.
Yeah.
Like just Shazam.
Just having him present could do a lot.
That's it. And I feel like there's a part of me that almost feels like if I was an egomaniac as I was of Dwayne Johnson, I would do a George Lucas special edition. I would just CGI him in there just cause I would pay the money to do it. Special edition Black Adam here.
Ghost,
you happy?
Like Ghost Hayden Christensen. And just put Ghost Shazam in there. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's
a couple of other things we're gonna get with the new DC that's been announced. We are gonna get a Supergirl movie. We're gonna get a Clayface movie, which I'm very intrigued by. Clayface was a Are you familiar with Clayface?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Yeah, for anybody who's not in the chat, he was, at least I learned of him as a Batman villain from the animated series. Something like the Chameleon, a little bit from Spider-Man, like a shapeshifter kind of thing, but it was like the story of like an actor who like took some really toxic makeup or something and it ended up like kind of destroying his face. Anyway, but I have no idea what they'll do with Clayface here as a movie, but it's gotten my attention at least. And then there's also discussions uh, of a Batman, the Brave and the Bold, which is a little bit more of a lighthearted version of Batman. Not like Adam West lighthearted, but it's a little more comic friendly. So I don't know if that's gonna be like their Batman or not. They're doing Swamp Thing, which is wild.
Okay.
And then also an untitled Wonder Woman film has been announced. So now, as to what degree these films are going to interact with each other, I have no idea. Um, there's also this is all Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. But apparently, there's a Teen Titans film that's been announced, and also a Bane and Deathstroke film. So pretty wild. So yeah. Oh yeah, J Money also mentions, and I mentioned this I think yesterday. We're getting a Lanterns TV series with Hal Jordan and John Stewart, Green Lanterns, who are going to be played by Kyle Chandler. Any friends of Friday Night Lights, the TV series, Coach Taylor, and John Stewart played by Aaron Pierre, who was in the Netflix film Rebel Ridge, as well as some other stuff very recently. But he's a little bit of an it guy right now. So anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to the Lantern series because it sounds almost True Detective-ish. It's going to be like an HBO Max series, so I'm excited for that. But anyways, yeah, I know I know you've spent a good amount of your time with me tonight on this and everything. But I appreciate you so much. The Three Digless saying Cobra Kai going to be the Teen Titans. Oh, you mean like are we talking about the Vanity Project from Evolve when we say Cobra Kai, or are we talking about the actual kids from Cobra Kai? Because I can see that too. Nevertheless, any final thoughts on this grand universe of DC that you would like to share with the masses?
I'm just really curious. They built stuff up. I've grown acclimated to what we've had over the last several years. We've got a reboot now with Superman 2025. They introduced some new characters. They're coming out with some other films now. Another Wonder Woman, like you said, another Batman, bringing in Teen Titans. So I'm just really, really, really curious to see how this is going to go. I understand that this is a full on just where we restarting this whole thing. It's the we factory reset the DCU. Cool. I just want to be clear that this is not going to be a factory reset as in Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad. Like we're not going to see these people over here, right? Like we cut the cord, we cut the ties, and we are fully moving on with all new actors and stories playing these characters. This is what we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
let's see what you got.
Well, I want to give a shout out to B leading the charge on saying they better do right by Teen Titans. And I will say this, if James Gunn has any kind of supervisory involvement in that, one thing James Gunn excels in is taking comic book projects that involve a mishmash of unlikely people joining together in a group. So like, I mean, he did all three of those Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He did do the Suicide Squad, which granted borrowed some characters from the first iteration. But I think Gunn, and I don't know that Gunn is actually the one directing it. It's just been announced. So let me see if there's any other information really quick. Sorry, I'm just going to take a quick look.
Cameron makes a good point.
Yeah.
There are some lesser known characters for those that don't really watch the cartoons or read the comic books, like a Clayface. Like I happen to know what Clayface is because I've seen it. There are people that don't. It's not a very popularly known DC character. So my concern is, and I agree with Cameron, is that if you're going to start bringing out some characters that aren't as widely known as Joker, Batman, like Cyborg, that kind of thing, it might be like I would prefer sort of a soft launch of some of these
Hmm.
characters so people get a little familiarized with it instead of just a cold splash like here's a Clayface. Who is that? Why should I care? I don't know. Kind of a thing. They're just relying on this being a solid film. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but you got to give people who aren't DC people, who aren't movie hero people, a reason to really want to come in here and see this film. Superman, you say the name all around the world, absolutely people know what they're talking about. Batman, there's just
Hmm.
some characters that you know. Lesser known characters, I don't know. We will have
Yeah.
to see.
Well,
But
just a quick little update here. So the Clayface movie is being directed by James Watkins, who I don't know. Some of you guys may have seen this movie, maybe not. But last summer there was a movie from with what's his name, James McAvoy, called Speak No Evil, um, which was like a thriller slash horror, which was really good. He directed that movie, and he also directed a pretty harrowing episode of Black Mirror back in 2016 as well. He'll be doing the Clayface movie. Word on the street is Batman: The Brave and the Bold is being directed by Andy Muschietti, who directed The Flash. He also directed both movies, both remakes of Stephen King's It as well. Um, so we'll see where that comes. Although there is a little bit of debate on whether or not that Brave and the Bold will happen. And then Swamp Thing is being directed by James Mangold, who gave us Logan, the old man Wolverine movie.
mhm.
And then the Teen Titans film is being directed. Let's see, by oh no, we don't have a director yet for the Teen Titans movie, but the screenwriter is someone named Anna Noguera, who has also been hired to be the screenwriter for the Wonder Woman movie as well. So at least there could be some continuity there. We'll see.
And Jade Money just
Um,
said Viola Davis is reprising her role as Waller.
I'm fine with that because I don't know who was going to replace her because there's
Mm.
only one Viola Davis in this world, and I wouldn't want to be the person who tells her we don't need her.
I
Oh,
gotta say, I don't know, man. I don't
I
know.
know. No, I totally feel you. I understand the hesitations about wanting to preserve elements of a former universe into a new one and stuff, and sort of this disjointedness that can happen there. But she
Yeah.
is so good, though. She is so good.
She's excellent.
Um,
She's excellent.
he also said Jason Momoa is coming back as Lobo. He'll be Lobo in Supergirl, which honestly, I know, back to your point, bringing back actors we used before, but real talk, he never should have been Aquaman in the first place. He should have been Lobo all along. Like that is actually like the casting you need for a Jason Momoa. Like he's far more equipped for that role. But I feel you though. Like it gets messy, doesn't it? It gets messy.
That's my whole concern, man, is that the DC was just a hot mess for so long. They did things that were just all over the place. You literally said this is a reset and yet not. Like it just
Yeah.
I get it, but I don't get it.
I
I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. It's just like with wrestling. There's only
yeah.
so many promotions these people can go, and I'm we wish you well in your future endeavors over here. Oh well, I can turn on TNT and see the same guys wrestling.
Right.
I get it, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I honestly, you know what I think would be good for them is to not be in a hurry to make a universe out of this.
Yeah,
Like, take their time before they start changing lanes on heroes. Obviously, they introduced a bunch of heroes into Superman right from the get, but like, I don't need to see I don't need to see Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman in the same movie right away. Like, let's play around in all their worlds for a little while first. Let Batman lock up a few crazies before he meets another hero, or at least meets another hero that has his own movie. Like, if you want to have, like, since we've got a Green Lantern in Superman, that okay, we did that, and you could do that a little bit, but I don't know. Just I would rather be patient and have a good story than do the cash grab universe thing, and then a year from now we're doing the same podcast again. Like,
muscle on Wonder Woman. Put some muscle on that woman. Get her protein shake.
Right, exactly.
Get her some Wagyu beef. Come on.
Some pre-workout, some clanging and banging, steaks. Hang her out with heavy machinery, man. Steaks and weights.
All ass.
That's okay.
Amazon.
Otis for Wonder Woman 2026.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
That's my end thought.
Oh my gosh.
That's all I got.
Oh man.
Oh, thank you, brother. This was good.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me, friend. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Good encouraging word there from J Money. So Gunn says he doesn't go forward with a project unless he feels the script is amazing and that storytelling will always matter first. Well, I'm glad that's what Gunn feels. At the end of the day, though, Gunn doesn't, much like Triple H answers to TKO, Gunn will answer to a studio. So hopefully the studio agrees with his sentiment. That's best I'll say about that. Because Marvel hasn't always done that either. They've given us a few clunkers here and there. So nevertheless, thank you guys so much for joining us. Me and Abe will see you in a month, I guess, for a new topic. If you guys want it, thank you for joining us for this supersized episode of the DC universe. And let us know. Let us know in the comments throughout the week. Happy SummerSlam week to everybody. If there's a new topic you want us to tackle next month, we'll be glad to do it and make it work. Hey, thank you so much. Absolutely. Where can the people find you and your team?
Well, do not forget, I want to say a quick shout out to me and Rashizi Best who just came in here. We're going to be live this week for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown. Of course, like he had said, SummerSlam weekend, we'll be live for that, as I'm sure Steven will as well. But also keep in mind, both me, B, and Steven will be live this Tuesday on just Alex's channel, Alex's World, for SummerSlam predictions. Not on our channel, on his channel. So make sure you get your notifications on. Click. I don't know.
Nice.
I love it.
Looks cooler than me. Family who hang out with me on Tuesdays for NXT. We will go live. I'm going live all week long. Monday. I'll do Raw and SmackDown and SummerSlam as well, but I'll also be there Tuesday for NXT. Right after NXT, we will hop over to Just Alex's channel for a SummerSlam preview with the whole family. So, please join us for that. We'll have plenty to talk about. It's a feast of a show, man. There's going to be a lot of bodies, so we're going to have a good time. All right, guys. Thank you so very much for joining us. We'll see you guys tomorrow for Raw across all the Coalition channels. And get yourself some rest, hydrate, stay well fed, because it's SummerSlam week and we got a lot to take in. So, all right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for joining us tonight. Don't forget to be a mark. Being a mark means you believe. Believing makes wrestling and movies better.